All right, this is gonna be a long one. I'm sorry, it's a big one. This is one of the ones I've been waiting to do. I'm excited to do. I've been pushing it off. I got my drink to wet my whistle. And it deals with Spider-Man, and it's been a thing I've been putting off, but I've been waiting. I've been writing about it. Put a lot of effort into it. This is a lot of the hate for Homecoming, and it's weird because coming from an older person that's seen all the Spider-Man movies, being older than them, and their takes and all that, I just think people aren't quite understanding or getting the breakdown of it, and maybe they do understand the Spider-Man movies, or they look at me as a little bit biased because I like the MCU more than a lot of things, because I I like that they planned things out and had structure. They didn't wait to, back in the day, you waited for the movie to come out, and if it did well, you would maybe do a sequel, or you have a sequel in mind. After Iron Man, so on, they just had a plan, a game plan. So Spider-Man, the same thing happened. But we're gonna hear a little bit from C3. I don't know much about C3. I just know he does stuff. And this is the Clips podcast, guys. I always see clips on. And yeah, we'll let him talk for a second. And this is, like I said, it's, if you don't want to hang around, that's cool. This is one I just been excited to do. I wish I could do graphics, have things pop up when I'm talking. Unfortunately, I'm not good at that. And unfortunately, I used to edit all the time. And it just was a lot of work to get 2 views, and it sucked. So now I'm just having fun, and it sucks. Eventually, you know, hey, if people start watching, I can maybe put a little more effort and put pictures in. But I always do these live, recording live. If my phone goes off, if anything goes off, I just keep talking. I don't care. I don't care about editing. I keep it kind of pretty real. So with all that being said, hopefully you're still around and you want to hear a lot about Spider-Man, the whole world of Spider-Man, Homecoming, and talking about further going to Brand New Day and the previous Spider-Mans. So let's get into it. This is C3's comments that got me triggered, no, that got me interested, and we'll go to another guy's.
Line for 7 hours for Homecoming because I wanted to be first in line because I love Spider-Man so much. And I'm like, he's in the MCU. This is gonna be great. I remember the credits rolling and me going, I'm underwhelmed.
That's really odd.
I'm a little let down, and I feel like I have to convince myself to like Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
I think one problem is we set our expectations very high on things. After seeing Spider-Man probably in Civil War, this gentleman probably put it high, because that's the chef kiss right there. I can't explain how well that was done. I'm here to explain a lot of things, but that one I can't explain how smart Marvel was when they did that. It just was clever. It was smart, clever, cool way to do it. And we start the arc that everyone hates, that they're going to mention, I think, several times. Tony Stark being a big pivotal part of Peter Parker's story. So again, I think the hopes were high after Civil War.
And I know, because I think he's a great actor. He gets so much hate for, he's like, oh, he's only done Spider-Man all his career. I think he's great, and I think there's good moments in there. But you cannot defend it when Homecoming, I'm going
to let you know. I'm going to defend it.
No Way Home is literally resetting so they can start fresh because of how much they messed up in his trilogy.
Again, another thing I'm going to cover that they're not doing. Far From Home wasn't to reset everything. It's a whole different story.
Let 3C cook. Here, I'll give you a...
And I have to remember the guy, non-hat guy, thinks TASM 2 is like the best movie ever. I do have a video talking about TASM 2 and how it just sucks. And the few positives that are in it are really, really positive, though. But it absolutely is a horrible trash movie. There's not much you could pull from that story. Acting, a lot of stuff that is good in that one. And again, maybe we'll swing by it again. I'll check my notes, but we'll keep going.
Layup.
3 movies to get Aunt May to say, great power comes great responsibility, starting him back, stripping him of everything they've built for 3 movies. That was not the original plan.
See, this is where I disagree. I think we already had a plan with Spider-Man. As soon as Spider-Man came out, they talked it out. I believe Tom Holland, at least, was ready for the 3. And by, I think, the second, possibly writing the 3rd, they had the idea for Brand New Day. Because they weren't going to do him getting revealed at the end of number 2 to doing the spell in number 3 and to 4 be the Brand New Day. Now, you can say I'm arrogant and be like, you don't know that. You don't. Sure. I don't know that. I can't say I know for facts, but studios are smart these days, and to be honest, they don't like taking risks. A lot of studios don't. So much as they think this was a bad plan, I think this was all in the works, and also depended on Tom Holland wanting to continue to play Spider-Man. They could have left it open, but I definitely think Spider-Man No Way Home was open that we were going to see more. And it's great because Tom Holland's age, how he portrays him, but we'll get into that more too.
It's them realizing we've gone so far from what Spider-Man is, we gotta go a brand new day.
You're breaking my heart.
I mean, they had a whole movie that's not even in New York.
If you played soccer, which position would you...
Why are we talking about that? So that was his take on Spider-Man, and these have accumulated. So there's 2 videos, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna save this up. I'm gonna save it up because I have a lot to say. And again, you might be gone by now. It's late for me right now. It's super late. So if you're gone and like this energy isn't my energy, that's fine. I gotta get this out. I gotta talk because I've gone. I'll probably have other videos that come out before this that I'll talk a little bit about Spider-Man. I cover a lot of Marvel stuff. I love superheroes, but MCU seems to be doing a lot right now. And there's no really Fox anymore. There's nothing like that. So not much to really cover as far as, I like to do theories and stuff like that, but DC only got a few things going on, but I kind of like us to go back and visit things. But this is a big thing to me. This is huge. We're having Brand New Day coming out, and there's a lot, again, I'll get into, but this is what Soups is saying. I've never really been big on Soups. It was like in the prime of TikTok, when I was finding the people I like to watch. He would pop up on my algorithm a lot. He just would try to do like these news alert type things, and he would report on the same thing with just one thing changed, and then it would be the next thing and the next thing, and literally he was just getting, maybe he was trying to get followers, but he would do little by little but barely change what he's saying. And a lot of times it was like release dates, I believe, for movies, and then he's like, okay, now it's gonna be this date, and then another video, now it's gonna be this date, and people would watch, I guess, for those reasons. But I kind of somehow I got him out of my algorithm. And once I seen him dancing, I think it was for Homecoming, dancing on the red carpet, which I was jelly that all these people that were like people I saw on TikTok where they were no ones, not saying they're no one as in not a person. They were no one as far as like the internet. And it's crazy, like all of a sudden I've watched them forever, and then they're all on the red carpet, you know, doing the dumb Spider-Man dance. I couldn't take people seriously after that. I get it, it's fun and all, but yeah, so we're gonna get deep into this. We're gonna get really deep. I feel like I'm taking too long already, but this is Soup, so this is his take on Homecoming, and again, triggered me a little bit, got me a little upset. I'm an older gentleman. I've kind of been through it. My finger. I've been through it all with Spider-Man. I feel like I have a good soapbox to stand on for this. I love debating and telling my opinion and talking it out. So here's Soup's take on it after C3's.
Dog, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
If you didn't hear, he said Homecoming's absolute dog shit.
Out of your mind.
And I say that being extra, but look, here's why Homecoming
out of your mind.
is doesn't compare to the Tobey movies, because the entire foundation of the character of Spider-Man is what he goes through, yet he still decides to be a hero. No matter the consequence he faces. In Homecoming,
he does that.
No, he doesn't.
he doesn't suffer one consequence in Homecoming besides losing his suit, and that's not even a consequence.
No, and he can't go to Homecoming. He constantly wants to be doing something in his regular life, and it's constantly taking away from him.
He wants to be a hero in the movie, bro. He's literally looking in school. Peter Parker, the kid who loves school, is in school, looking at the clock, waiting to get out of school to go be a hero.
Spider-Man. He's constantly texting Happy. He's constantly trying to get Tony to come.
His attention.
Yep, get his attention.
Tony saves him multiple times in that movie.
Spider-Man doesn't do anything impressive in that movie except be saved by Iron Man.
The action, terrible.
Act Steel came.
All right, I don't know why we're jumping to that stuff. So you basically got their takes. Homecoming is dog shit. The other one said their No Way Home was a way to fix it all. Let's just start from the beginning. So I've been, everybody says, oh, I've been in comics forever. I get it. That's my same spiel. My dad just ingrained comics on me since I can remember. I've mentioned it before. Potty trained on the toilet reading comics. Just really deep into it. Really deep. Spider-Man was one of my first loves. Batman, huge 89 Batman. Got to see that in the theaters as a kid. all those guys really big. I hung on to Wolverine really hard. Spider-Man was probably the most fun to watch or read, relatable wise. Most iconic covers and stuff like that growing up. You know, and then I think I was 4 when Venom came out. So there's a no. I don't know. It's either that or in the Secret Wars. Anyways, that doesn't matter. I think, okay, first thing first, like I'm gonna sing Imagine Dragons song. Homecoming, I think they don't like Homecoming because it's not what they wanted. They wanted the typical origin story, I think, or the beginning of Peter Parker, nerd, loving school, all that kind of stuff. Marvel decided, and this is why people probably gonna think I'm biased, because I really enjoy, okay, there's a lot of MCU I don't enjoy. A lot I don't enjoy. Too much for me being a Marvel fan that I should enjoy and I don't. And I enjoy movies that everybody hates too. So Homecoming is probably one of them. And I'll get to it. I don't want to get there yet. But I think, I'm not sure if they wrote down on pen and pad what they wanted to see. Would it be rehashing Garfield? Would it be rehashing Toby? I don't know. But Marvel did this take where we don't even know his origin right now. No one blinked an eye. Russo's just talked about it because someone asked in an interview what was his story, did it deal with Uncle Ben. They said it's just, it didn't happen. Like Uncle Ben, something happened maybe, but they're not confirming anything, and they rather just leave it be. Some people got mad. I think I did a video about origins, but to be honest, I think as comic book fans and movie fans, we've seen this so much in the limelight that we've seen these origins over and over and over, and you get used to it in comic books because they want to reboot comic lines a lot, and they go back to number 1, and sometimes they'll give you a fresher take, maybe not an origin, but a new way of starting them up again. Brand New Day was one of them. They had, you know, Mephisto changed the world for him, and out of nowhere, to save Aunt May. Stupid story. Brand New Day had it where he had a whole new story, kind of rebooted it. They do these things to try to keep things fresh and try to keep things good. And I think it's harder for younger audiences that get to watch all this stuff that they consider nostalgia stuff because maybe they watched it when they were like 3 or something. But I watch these things like live in living color while they're happening. So I might have a one up on them being older, which isn't fair because I have a lot different views of it. I lived hardcore for these movies, and I didn't care if they sucked. Batman Forever was my jam. Now I can understand the reason why I like that is nostalgia. It's not because it's a good movie. It's actually a really poor movie when you put it, you know, on paper and look at it. So I don't know what they want with Spider-Man Homecoming, but Marvel had this idea that they were going to make Spider-Man come into the Marvel Universe as already Spider-Man. So obviously something already happened for him to become Spider-Man. He was already fighting crime before Tony got involved. This is the time where he was what they wanted to see. It seems like they wanted to see that Spider-Man. They said they made it like he wanted to. Him wanting to be a superhero was a problem. The guy that loves school or whatever. We already got that story without seeing that story. Happened off camera. And I'm sorry if you didn't like that. That's tough shit, I guess you could say. That's how they did the story. They entered Spider-Man in a world full of chaos. Like they just threw him in. But I don't care what anybody said. People were pumped for him. Now you might backtrack it and be like, oh, I didn't. Like, I think Soups changed. He liked Homecoming and then he changed it or whatever. And it's fine over time to change. I have a whole video about changing your ratings and stuff. But I'm here defending Homecoming and calling it dog shit and saying Homecoming and the other movies led up to a reboot because they fucked up, basically. So they're both allowed to think the way they are. They're both allowed to think, you know,
And believe knowing that Nafisa is gonna be out.
you're allowed to think that it's dog shit. You're allowed to think that it's a reboot, or they're going to do a reboot, but I don't see it, and I don't know if people really break it down. But so with Spider-Man, I disagree. Peter watching the clock and all this stuff and calling Happy that they're talking about how desperate he is to go on another mission. He's excited to be a superhero. We got past the beginning part where they want to see him. They wanted to see him where, like, why does he want to be a superhero? He shouldn't want to be. That's happened already. That story already happened off camera. Now we got a different. You imagine being a kid, getting pulled in, and they show in the beginning of Homecoming that he's recording it. He's pumped. He's already been doing Spider-Man shit. He's already been doing it for a long time. Now he's pumped. He's working with the Avengers. He gets to fight Captain America. And it blows my mind because there's even the scene while he's doing all the recordings. He's like, and then Iron Man came down and Spider-Man and blah, blah, blah. It's just, or whatever he's saying, not Spider-Man. He is a teenager. And at this time he got pushed into a fight with the Avengers. Tony recruited him. What reasons I would not know why you would recruit a young 6-year-old, but hey, he saw something in him. And I don't think they quite understand that him being excited and stuff, this guy got thrown into a world where he became basically an Avenger, but he wasn't an Avenger. And that was a problem in Homecoming. In Homecoming, he wanted to be a superhero so bad. He got to fight along Iron Man, Black Widow, everybody. He saw Captain America. Like, this is ridiculous to be in the Marvel world and you see this in front of you. And on top of it, you're on Iron Man's team, a man that's in the limelight that literally said, I am Iron Man. Like, he's a celebrity in this world. And he asked you to come and join him on your team. So again, you may not like how it happened or that, but you got to understand why he's acting this way. They're like, a kid that loves school. Sure, he did. Maybe he did love school. This isn't Toby or nerdy. This is a different. The best thing about this is they modernize him. And that I go into another video. I'll probably release it before this. That I enjoy a lot of things that if they tweak it and make it modernized, I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. Because I don't mind changes. Now, if you're changing Black Panther to a white guy, okay, we have a problem. If Steve Rogers never went through the super soldier serum in this age and came out, did it in the 2000s, yeah, I'd have problems with it. But these tweaks that are minor enough to work in their world is fine. I have no problem with it. They're literally telling the story of what the movie's about, and I guess that's true. That he's being impatient, and he thinks he's ready. That's the point of Homecoming. He thinks, and think of the title Homecoming on top of that. It's you're here. You know, they're probably just thinking Homecoming dance, being youngins, but you're here and you're ready to go, and that's what it is. Spider-Man Peter, he's ready to go, and it's crazy. Like, I think I had it on the other day. And I started thinking, how did they not get this from this movie? How did they not understand what he was doing in the story? He wanted to help so bad, but it doesn't. I wrote down, he's learning that wanting to help doesn't automatically mean he's ready for everything he's trying to do. And I think that's a big thing. Just because he's helping doesn't mean he's ready. And we're going to see this pop up many times in Homecoming. And I can't understand why people don't like it, but it's whatever. People have their opinions. So Peter already understands responsibility. We've already had him talk about that. And C3 complained that we finally had Captain America say Avengers Assemble after 15 years. I get it. It's not a lesson that we are used to Peter, but Peter already knew the responsibility. He made it. He said it in his own way, and they did it purposely because they're planning on it being a bigger moment on purpose. So they had Peter say, when you don't do, the right things, bad things can happen. What does that mean? We don't know. But do we need to know? Not really. No one blinked an eye. After that movie came out, no one asked what happened. How did he become Spider-Man? Where did he get bit? Where was the place at? It got just washed under and no one cared. You know what? And it didn't affect the film. Because we've all seen the Spider-Man origins. We've gone through them all. And we know typically what happens. There could be an interesting maybe callbacks to it eventually, but to be honest, we don't even go there. We're so far ahead. He's working with the Avengers right now, and this kid is like losing his mind that he is Spider-Man now, and it shows with Ned like losing his mind, like you're the Spider-Man. It's not like when Tobey Maguire became Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield. They weren't known. No one cared about them. James Jonah Jameson eventually got wind of him and he's a menace, and all this crap. Spider-Man was around forever. not forever, but for a long time, as the beanie mask, ski mask with the glasses and all that. He was fighting crime already. And then he got brought to the big leagues when he probably shouldn't have. And that's the point of Homecoming. I don't know what they wanted the structure to be or what kind of story they wanted it to tell, but they actually kept it pretty grounded, but it's different grounded because it's with technology. So, like I wrote, Peter's already stopping petty crime. He's already helping people. And then Civil War happens. He explains everything to Tony about how he feels. And it's really cool to see that this kid is doing the right thing. And he's doing this all on his own. He's building his own web flute. He's like, where'd you get this from? And it's just crazy. He's responsible. He has a responsibility. It's already. He didn't need to learn his lesson. I don't know what they wanted about that. He doesn't need to hear the famous line. They could have went forever without saying it. And most people wouldn't blink an eye. Brand New Day would be coming out right now, still with the same hype, which all of these guys were hyped up for Brand New Day. The same hype if Ant-Man never said it. They would still have the same hype. And that's how important that Spider-Man was just a good story, or they're gonna say No Way Home was a good story. That the fact that they never had to do the quote through those movies, and it got to No Way Home, maybe that's why they liked it, because they finally got to hear it then. But I think that's what helped a lot, where you actually didn't need this famous thing. Now, would I be mad if they never used it? Yeah, I'd probably be a little upset. That's like, you know, a very token thing. But the way they delivered it, art, cinema. So Homecoming doesn't need this whole teach Peter how to be Spider-Man. He's already knows how to be Spider-Man. Now he's in the big leagues. So Civil War changed everything for Peter. This all, you know, happened to a kid, came to his apartment, he got the suit. He gets to fly to Germany, and this is all in the opening of the YouTube video. Them saying like it's so stupid that he wants to like get out of class, and it's, what would you do as a teenager that you're already fighting crime, and all of a sudden someone gives you a suit, super suit first of all, and people hated that, but I could get into that later, and you're fighting along with the people that saved the earth in New York City. You're with them. In Iron Man 2, Peter, they said Peter was there, the kid in the mask. People may not want to believe that. I don't think you have to believe that, but they put in the continuity. That's what they did. And all this happens. He got to see Giant Man get big, all that stuff, and he goes home and he's confused, like, what do I do? I'm a superhero now. And then these guys are confused. Why is he watching the clock? Why wouldn't you watch the clock? Why wouldn't you? You're Spider-Man now. You have a dope suit. This is a totally different story. If you want that old stuff, go watch Tobey Maguire again. Go watch Andrew Garfield. All right. If you have a problem with it, go watch the other stuff. This is MCU's idea. And again, I'm not trying to make you like it. I'm just explaining to you what maybe is going over your head or what you're not understanding. And someone that has watched every movie in the theater, and I wasn't 5 when I watched them. I was teenager and up in all these. Again, and that doesn't, you know, give me a one-upper on it, but it does show where my brain was when I watched these compared to when they might have watched it, was when they got old enough to watch it, or, you know, family put it on eventually. They weren't in line like I was for Spider-Man. They weren't. Their dad wasn't showing them Spider-Man and the Amazing Friends. I can say that may not be true. They could have, but it's highly likely. That is so old. Your parents would have to be really pushing it in your face like my dad did. I watched Spider-Man's Amazing Friends. We had the tapes of Spider-Man. There was a lot going with Spider-Man for us in our family. That's my dad's favorite superhero. So it's no big thing for me that I've seen a million different versions of this guy. And it always comes down to the same core. Good person, good kid, and, you know, taking on bad guys. So we get to, you know, of course he's calling Happy. We talk about that. He wants to go on another mission. Stark saw something in him. Peter already wanted to be a hero. Tony made Peter believe he could be an Avenger. And those aren't the same thing, is what I wrote. Peter already wanted to be a hero, and Tony made Peter believe he can be Avenger, is not the same thing. So you have to remember, when he's doing all these things that bugged you guys, and where's the action at? We're watching a teen go through something crazy. And again, This might not be your take you want. Maybe you want the nerdy pushing up the glasses, missing the buzz, Tobey Maguire. We got that already. It's kind of nice that I get a fresh take from someone that's been there from the beginning and watched every version. Like, I'm probably like, I don't mean to be a dick, but I'm probably like 20 years older than these guys. C3, I don't know. I think he's an older gentleman, but it's just different for me because I was younger, of course, but I was in a different cognitive brain when I watched it. And he talked about lining up for Homecoming. I lined up for Universal Studios Spider-Man show because we didn't have anything like that. So yeah. And then it goes to Peter always has been bailed out. This is one of the biggest criticisms I hear about the movie is they used Iron Man to push Spider-Man. Number one, Spider-Man doesn't need Iron Man to make money. You could put anyone in a spider suit, you can put them in a picture on front of a screen and say it's a Spider-Man movie. People will show up and pay, maybe be upset that it's a picture, but people are going to show up. They're going to show up because it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is probably, I was looking at statistics, he's probably the most famous recognizable superhero. It's up to him, Superman, and Batman. They say iconic wise, it's Superman because he really broke the mold for what a superhero is and all this kind of stuff. But today's world, Spider-Man is way more recognizable to children, old people, everybody. Superman could be that way, but what people flock to is relatability more than anything, and it's really hard to relate to Superman, and that's kind of a flaw in Superman, and that's why I always have a hard time reading his comics. But when you get a good writer behind Superman, you get some really good Superman comics, and that's not hating on Superman. It's just hard, and I get that. So with all that being said, he always needs somebody to save him, but that's the point in Homecoming. He's over his head right now. Again, he's jumping into shit that he shouldn't be jumping into. What does Robert Downey Jr. tell him? Be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He wants him to be back what you guys wanted to see. I'm cool not seeing that. You know how long we had to wait to him to get, like, in all these movies, get to the point where it's decent, where he's just Spider-Man? Like, I myself, my favorite Spider-Man reading was like when him in his 30s. I think I talked about this in other videos. I liked when he had a wife, he had bills. It was interesting take. We've all seen the teenager ones. Every cartoon starts off with him as a teen. I think animated, maybe not. But most of the cartoons start with him as a teen. And we have to see him go through school, go through bullies. We're in a different age now. Bullies don't bully anymore. It's cyberbullying. It's not real bullies and stuff. You can say Flash calling them names and stuff. That's whatever, dude. It's not, you're not going to lose your mind over that. That's not real bullying that we used to see back a long time ago. Even when I was in school, it wasn't like that kind of bullying. It was like my dad's time when there was like bullies pushing your head in the locker and all that. We didn't even have lockers because they were afraid because it was a ghetto neighborhood and, you know, Columbine stuff was going on. Actually, it was probably before Columbine. But the thing with Peter, he's over his head, but he has the powers, he has the heart, and he wants to do something with this. But the thing he doesn't have out of all of it, I marked down, he doesn't have experience. And that might be blamed on Tony. Tony brought him in. I don't know why Tony wanted to bring him in, but I think Tony saw something maybe that he lost with his father. And it actually makes me kind of get a little sad and sappy because I already jumped to Endgame in my head and Peter crying talking to him, but I have to bring myself back. You have to remember there's layers to storytelling, and I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but I've wrote scripts and stuff. I've had them done by the guild and had them, you know, copyrighted and all that. Did I ever come out of it anything? No. I could be a horrible writer. I don't know. But I have studied writing at least. I've read books on writing and stuff. So I get it to a point. I might be horrible at it, but I at least learned it, I guess you could say. Who knows? You know? You can learn math, but you can't be great at it, you know? I'll never know. People that have read my stuff, they can judge it or whatever. I've had, you know, whatever. I don't want to even get into that. But I understood. And there's layers in this. You didn't for once probably think of why did Tony grab him? Because I was questioning that the whole time right now. Why did Tony grab this kid? Tony saw something in someone that he wished his dad saw in him. And I don't know if you needed DVD commentary for this. I don't know if you needed to ask a panel about this. But I think it was something that if you watched through the Iron Man movies, that this thing he had with his dad you would kind of put two and two together. That why was he just picking up a random kid? He had a connection with him. He even says X-Men, Iron Man 3 when he talks like, kid, we're connected. So he understands that he should help people. Peter knows that. He knows he should be helping people. This is what it is. It's his responsibility. This is what he's supposed to do. But like I said, he doesn't have the experience. And you look at the fairy situation. People jump into this situation all the time about this movie. They hate the fairy part, which I don't understand. People try to compare it to the train scene. They love the train scene, or the bus. Is it a train or is it a train? In Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2. We won't call it amazing. Spider-Man 2. Great scene. None of these movies, Spider-Man 3, I'll tell you right now, I don't like. Spider-Man 2 is dog shit soups. And I could bring up parts why. I'll get to that. But again, the fairy thing, he was trying to do what he thought is right. And he already got lectured before by Steve like a father. And this wasn't about, they make jokes about him like, oh, he's supposed to be Iron Boy and a sidekick. Are you not seeing the connection that he doesn't have a father figure in his life? I just think people, like, in writing, you are thinking about, if you think about stories, not writing, we won't even go to writing. Things are deeper than you expect. And sometimes you understand it, you just see it, you get it. Some people don't. A lot of people just watch a movie and then go home. Whatever. Some people like to digest it. Some people watch it and catch it just because of relevance. Maybe comics they've read, or maybe books they've read, or movies they've seen, or life problems they've had, trauma, who knows. So he's already been lectured by him going too over his head, and he learns that he's not even there. Tony Stark's not there for him, and this already mentally does not go well with him. It doesn't go well, because not only did he get saved by him, on top of it he looked stupid, irresponsible, and on top of it, this dad figure didn't even show up for you. He didn't even care. So the fairy thing happens, and it's the movie. That's not the movie accidentally making Peter Parker look incompetent. All right, you have to understand that they didn't accidentally do that scene. There was a reason for that scene. Peter's trying to jump into the Avengers world before he was ready for it, and that's the big part of this. Again, I've already said that. He just doesn't. He's not ready for it, and that's the whole point. He doesn't have it, and at that point, when the fairy thing happens, Stark comes to him like a father and tells him, like, he's pissed. He's screwed up. And people are like, oh, I hate this. Why is Tony Stark in here? Because we're building a universe. And this is great. This is the cool part here, if you want to buy what I'm selling. That we're building a world where all these people exist. So we're having them connect. Just like Brand New Day's coming out, Punisher is going to be in it, Hulk's going to be in it, maybe Jean Grey. Whoever it is, we're all connecting it, showing they're all in this world. So this world, Spider-Man isn't like Garfield, where there's no other other superheroes in the world. There's nothing. You know, Toby, there's no other superheroes in the world. This is different. We're in a world where the Avengers saved the world already. They're celebrities. People know who they are. People stop Thor to take pictures with them. And Ragnarok, I was gonna say Doomsday. They're celebrities. So the fact that this guy is somebody big, he had interest in you, and then now he's lecturing you for the second time, and he's like, you're not even here. And he comes out, and he is there. It shows how serious the matter is. That he was looking out for the kid. He knew something was going up. Yes, he's getting bailed out again. He's supposed to get bailed out. He's supposed to fuck up. That's the point of the movie. I just feel like people don't put things together, and like they get into this superhero tunnel vision, and if it's not like the way they think it should be, then it's not accurate or a good movie. Pick out things that you didn't like. Oh, I didn't like he looked at the clock. I didn't like he called Happy. Put it together what the story's about. He's looking at the clock because he wanted to be superhero. He's calling on Happy because he wanted to be a superhero. There's a trend here. Follow the bouncing ball. There's something going on here. Again, I couldn't wait to do this video because I've been holding this for a long time. It's therapeutic. So we have him. Tony takes a suit and he says, I need the suit. You know, I'm nothing without the suit. This is something Iron Man already learned. Iron Man learned you had to be more than the suit. And that's the man made the suit, basically. And he learned that the hard way. So when Spider-Man says that, it's like hearing it all over again, and then you feel like you failed as a father. You screwed up. You gave this kid so much leeway. You gave him this new suit that could do all these crazy cool things and all these bells and whistles. He didn't have to work for it. He didn't have to work. He didn't struggle. I want to see him not just get the super suit already. Everyone was pissed. Why did Spider-Man start off with it? He didn't start off with it. He wore a ski mask. All right? He saved crime. Or stopped crime. He got the suit at a different time. And this was a cool idea. In the comics, he gets upgrades later on in the future as an adult. No one complained because they're like, oh, he's been Spider-Man forever. I guess he'll get upgrades. He's gone through so many costumes. It's ridiculous because things change, different problems happen. This was a different scenario. He had this father mentor that had access to it and gave him the sickest suit that was a iPhone, basically. It could do anything. It could do everything. So Tony takes the suit. And Karen's gone, Gadget's gone, parachute is gone, the heat warmer is gone, all the technology I said everybody complains about is gone. So he doesn't have it. Again, follow the mountain ball. It's part of the story. What you didn't like actually happened and was part of it. He still has to go on. He still has to continue the story. We're still in the movie theater. We're still watching it. So when you're underwhelmed and you want like explosions and you want big fight scenes. By the way, if we go back to a lot of the other Spider-Mans, I was talking about this on the video. I'll probably release before this. I said they never utilized how cool Spider-Man fights in the comics, and I was trying to think back to like all the Spider-Man, because I said like the only ones I don't really care for is 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2002, but all of them never had really cool fighting scenes. I mean, Spider-Man jumps and the razor things, Goblin on the first one. The best one is, yes, the train scene. He's catching people and stuff. That's cool, but he's not really fighting the way we see. Only right now, this is gonna hold date this, but we haven't seen Brand New Day yet. The way he's fighting in the trailer against the Hand is a million times better than we've ever seen. And that's not me being a cuck for this. This is literally, if you're blind, you're crazy. It shows him really fighting like Spider-Man, at least in those scenes. He may not do it through the rest of it. But watch the Raimi movies. Watch them. Tell me the scenes that he fights like Spider-Man. It's webbing. That's all it is, webbing. Go watch Garfield. Tell me where he's fighting like Spider-Man. It's all webbing. There's not much where there's punch. It's just webbing around, a few things there. Nothing too crazy. Trying to think, like with Venom, Sandman, he like tries to punch Sandman and stuff. We don't get to ever see that typical Peter Parker fighting or Spider-Man fighting. And you call that against all of them, and you could be like, oh well, that's not fair because none of them do that. Cool, they fucked up. They didn't showcase Spider-Man skills, and I hate that they didn't. I think they didn't show his quipping either. Part of Spider-Man is talking a lot. The best they did, I don't want to say Tom Holland, I'll say in TASM 2 with Andrew Garfield trying to stop, I believe, Rhino in the beginning while he's driving the truck, and he's like talking to him. That's the best they did. That's for me the top tier. Him sneezing with the web and doing all that in the first one, it was stupid. If you thought that was cool, I'm not gonna hate on you, but for me it was stupid. It was just, he was at an age, and it's hard because Andrew Garfield's so much older. He was at an age where I guess he could be immature, but they didn't play him off like that in certain scenes. I would believe Holland do stuff like that because he was dumb and naive and young, and like this, you could tell him he thinks he's a superhero, and he's really not a superhero, and you're not understanding that. And Tobey Maguire is just corny. It's dirt in your eye, gobby. It's very blueprint Stan Lee first Spider-Man, and if you want that, that's great. Raimi's first Spider-Man totally captures that. Totally captures the essence of Stan Lee's Spider-Man. Very corny, but that's how they wanted it, or that back then it was how it was. Nerd, glasses, getting picked on, knocked over. When he gets powers, he's woohooing everywhere, and they really fed into that that world of Stan Lee, which is great. But again, I like things modernized a little bit. But at the time, I'll tell you, I was on cloud 9. I was so happy to have Spider-Man in the theater. You have no idea. Any superheroes. I remember being in the theater for X-Men, and I still to this day remember the thought of, I cannot believe Wolverine is on the screen right now. Like, it just kills me. And now where we're at now, people have no idea. This, like, people that, like my dad, like, I can't believe they had just Luke Ferrigno as Hulk, or the 70s Spider-Man, or the Japanese Spider-Man. That was the best they got. And it's crazy. And there's reasons why The Crow stands out for them, because it was one of the best adaptations. That's the reason why Ninja Turtles stood out for them, because it was a good adaptation of a comic. Back then, comics weren't really respected the way they were supposed to be. So when they did come out, we got the Batman 66, I believe. It was goofy, corny, and it based a lot off the early Batman stuff. And again, I like when we get stuff now compared to what we did get. I have stuff to compare it to now, and I like it modernized. I like it to feel like it could happen in this world, and it's going to be over the top because this is a superhero movie. I'm not stupid. I know all this can't happen, but I like the setting, the ideas, the cell phones, technology, all that stuff makes sense to me. And again, it could date it in the future. It could, in the future we might be doing weird stuff, holograms and shit, but I like modernized stuff. So if I watch the X-Men, and when Spider-Man came out, Sam Raimi, and they made it based off the original X-Men, and they looked the same, and they told that story, I'd be happy to see an X-Men movie, but the next time we got another X-Men movie that modernized it, I'd drop that X-Men movie. I would drop it, because it wasn't that cool. Back then it was cool because that's all you had. And even now, going to X-Men 1, it aged horribly. And I'm sorry, and again, I'm a huge Marvel fan, but I won't lie. I don't bullshit. I do not bullshit. I love Wolverine, and watching it back again, there was a couple cool scenes. I remember loving the pit scene, and he hits the dude with his headbutt. You hear the clanking and stuff, but the story and overall, it's pretty cheesy. It's not that great, but again, this was them dipping their foot into the world of superheroes and taking them seriously. So we were going there. So anyways, we'll get back to Spider-Man. We want Peter Parker to prove he's more than Iron Man's sidekick. This is what I hear all the time from these guys. Hat dude always reps Homecoming. Non-hat guy who's obsessed with Spider-Man, I guess. He thinks, he's being Iron Man Jr. and all that. We had to break this off. This is why he lost the suit. So you had to identify that while watching it. He stopped being this, if you're calling him a sidekick, he stopped being that at that moment. So I don't know how you separated that, or didn't separate that, but that's a big moment. Iron Man taking away the suit and forcing Peter to finish his story in the movie story. Like, Tony's not forcing him, but the movie has to keep going without this narrative that he had all this cool shit and he was able to do this and have Karen, or whatever the hell her name is, do everything for him. And it was on easy mode. He was on easy mode. And again, they're like, why is a Spider-Man like this and this stuff? He already struggled, guys. He struggled already. We went past that part. We skipped that part. If you want to watch again, go watch Raimi's. This is different. We modernized it. We made it a little different. Then we get back to go into a little more iconic. We get the Rebel scene where he's covered. I say Peter's trapped. He's scared. He's crying. He calls for help. Nobody comes. Then he looks down and sees his reflection. Half Peter Parker, half Spider-Man. And Spider-Man gets up himself. That's Spider-Man. 100%. Spider-Man didn't have Iron Man come. Spider-Man didn't get bailed out by the Avengers. Spider-Man didn't even have any Ned to go lift it up with him. Spider-Man did it on his own. In that moment, he is becoming more Spider-Man than you believe, because he had to do this all by himself. He couldn't look for any help. He had no gizmos, no gadgets, anything like that. That's Spider-Man. And if you didn't get that in that moment, I don't understand how you follow Spider-Man. Like, that, and it's a crucial scene because they're taking it from the comic where he was like, I think he was trying to get to Aunt May at that time. He couldn't lift it, and then he had to push himself with the willpower. And they use that kind of scene from the comic to embrace Peter realizing, you got to do this on your own. All right, so that's where we get that. And they say they wanted more traditional Spider-Man moment from Tom Holland. It's right there. It's literally right there. They want to see this, this, and struggling and blah blah blah. It's literally right in front of you. It's right in front of you. I don't understand how you don't get it. He's alone. He's scared. He's right there in front of you. That Peter Parker you've been crying about, that is begging for help and trying to call and looking at the clock, all this bullshit. He was right there. You finally got to see him. You should be happy. Or it took too long for him to get there. Okay, that's storytelling. They're telling the story different. If you walked into Homecoming thinking you're going to see the same story as Sam Raimi's or Andrew Garfield's, you're dumb. Because we already saw in Civil War. We already got that. You think there was going to be a prequel? I don't understand. We were building a universe. I say we as in Marvel fans, them creators, whatever. We as watchers, we were seeing a universe get created, and that's how they did it. They did it pretty smart, actually. They brought in Spider-Man with not all the bullshit with it. Same way we kind of got Hulk. We didn't really have to go through a lot of the bullshit. It was literally in the credits or the beginning or whatever. And I'm not a big fan of that Hulk that much either, but fight scene at the end, that's money. So Peter gets back up because nobody else is coming to save him. And then we're going to go to Vulture. Vulture gives Peter personal stakes. So I don't also agree that people think Homecoming has no stakes. I know it's grounded. It's very low-key grounded. But there are stakes at hand. Michael Keaton opening the door completely changes the whole movie. I don't get how... Again, maybe you're going to be like, oh, but that part was good. That part was good. Again, this is storytelling. This is 101 storytelling. And maybe it's not like how you want your Spider-Man to be, but that's my problem is when people don't get what they want, they change the way they see something and think it's dog shit, as Soup said. Maybe it's just not your taste, but it's not dog shit. You could not like it, that's fine, but it isn't dog shit. It was telling a story. That moment when Vulture opens up the door, Michael Keaton, who was fucking phenomenal in that movie. First of all, let's stop there. How do you make the Vulture cool? Honestly, the fact that he is a vulture that picks up scraps and uses it to build technology is genius. What a smart way to write the Vulture. And I think I get there with Mysterio. If you were telling me in 1995 or some shit, you want to use Vulture as Spider-Man's villain for his first movie, basically, his solo outing, I'd be like, no, you're fucking crazy. You're gonna get the bald guy. Fur around his neck. He has no powers. Razor talons, I guess, sometimes. Maybe if you do the 90s anime series, he gets young for a second. He has like a metal suit and I think he shoots out like metal shreds or whatever. I don't know what you'd call them. But I'd be like, yeah, we're not doing Vulture. It worked. Not only did they do Vulture, he fucking was awesome. I don't know. I'm glad I'm not monetized because I'm gonna do a lot of cussing because this shit's real. I guess cussing makes things real. And Peter realizing Liz's father as Vulture is just, it's crazy. It's a cool turn. Not to mention they're black and white, but it's a crazy turn. You don't see it coming. You don't see it coming at all. And for you to be like, oh man, this is like, oh, what are they doing? It's like this, as they call cinema. This is how they tell stories. This is how movies go. And one of the best scenes in a lot of Spider-Man movies, I would say, I would argue put this scene up there, is in the car. Oh my god, you would think he was Green Goblin, how evil that talk was. It was done so well. I don't understand how you could dislike Vulture at all in that movie. I don't know if they do or don't. They don't mention it, so I'm not going to go there. But when he slowly figures out he's Peter Parker, or Spider-Man, that is so fucking creepy. It's nuts. It's nuts. And again, I'm gonna tell you guys, this is gonna be a long one because I'm just getting into Homecoming right now. Because someone already said, oh, we're doing a reboot because everything was bad. That's why they're rebooting it, because they screwed up in the other ones. So I'm already explaining why Homecoming didn't get screwed up. But we're gonna go further. Again, this is probably gonna be too long, but I don't care. This all has to come out of me. So I've been holding it forever. I've been writing down stuff, things I've been thinking about. I love Spider-Man. I'll go to 10 toes down for Spider-Man. I would have done it for the Raimi Spider-Man. But unfortunately, I think this Spider-Man's better. But you can think what you want. You can like the traditional stuff. That's fine. I'm just giving you my piece. And with all that going on, Liz doesn't know what's going on with the whole Vulture thing. It's so goddamn tense. And if you don't feel that in the movie, get up and leave. You're not invested in a movie. If you think it's boring, just leave. It's fine. It's not your cup of tea. But if you're not feeling like, dude, this shit is like, man, this is intense. That's the feeling of a movie. It's just the way when you get locked into it. This is for like movie lovers, I should say, because there's some people that just watch movies and they leave. I know a lot of people that just watch a movie and I watch Transformers, I'm done. Transformers is a whole nother story, but some people like to invest their emotions, their body, their mind to a movie, and I'm like that person. I love fucking movies, not sexually, but I love movies. I grew up loving Robert Rodriguez, Kevin Smith, Quentin Tarantino. Those indie guys were my thing. Again, this is probably way before their time. When I watched Reservoir Dogs, totally different time. So I grew up with these directors that did these things on their own, wrote them, directed them, even acted in them. And it was a lot of heart. And I just grew into this person that just fell in love with movies, and I fell into a movie when I watched it when it was good. I felt like this was good. If it's not good to you, you should probably just bounce. If you're not feeling it, a million movies I've watched and I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. There's no point. Why finish it? The only reason why maybe is because your friend wanted you to be there and you had to, get in it. You got to get respect from him to be like, look, I'll watch your movie you really like. That's fine. I've done that for millions of friends. And some movies I didn't like. Some I'm glad they showed me. I'm really happy they showed me. But you have to remember, Peter is a kid sitting in the car with a grown man who just realized his secret identity. Sometimes personal stakes are scarier than another giant beam through the sky. Right? So you're thinking like something big and crazy, like we need to have the world coming to an end. Peter's world came to an end at that fucking moment. When he finds out that he's Spider-Man, holy shit, that's such a scary moment. Those are the stakes for Peter. Again, I don't want to gatekeep comics. Like, oh, you gotta read the comics. But coming from someone that reads the comics, it's not always about the world coming to an end. It's not always like, oh, this is... Sometimes Spider-Man goes through shit that's just hard and no one knows it. Not the whole world around him knows it. The world's not collapsing around him. It's not No Way Home where it's affecting the whole world. It's his life. It's his livelihood. So this kid that wanted to be a superhero all the time, wanted to be Spider-Man and be known, be an Avenger, all of a sudden he has nothing. And on top of that, this dude just fucking found out you're Spider-Man. And that shit's scary. And I'm not even gonna get into the whole Ned, MJ, and all that stuff right now. But you just gotta understand, when stakes are involved, you can't always look at the picture of it's gotta be huge. It's gotta be Andrew Garfield. Lizard is shooting in the sky. Everybody's gonna be a lizard. Like, I guess those are stakes. You don't want people to turn to lizards. Is it stupid? Fuck yeah. A villain that wants to turn people into lizards? That's old shit. That's not what we should be working on with Lizard. There's a lot more stories with Lizard that are really fucking good. But with this, we had an intense moment. Looking at you, Soups. I'm actually looking at the picture. That changed the whole dynamic of the movie. It almost turned into a horror movie at that little moment. Not through the whole movie, just that moment. It was scary as fuck for Peter. And then he just has to go do his thing. And then the argument that he was desperate to be an Avenger is, yes, he does. I say that down here because at the end, Tony finally offers him to be an Avenger. To be an Avenger. Full on, we're gonna announce it. You're an Avenger. New suit, press conference. Peter says no. Stay with me. He says no to being an Avenger. Did this not tie in with the whole storyline for you guys? What all was going on? Like, wanting all this so bad. Got stripped. Had to fight Vulture. Do it on his own. Tony was impressed. Did you follow this? What's going on now? Maybe you're following it. it gives Peter everything he wants. Now he got everything he wants. He's got the suit. He's got the father figure that's a movie star, basically, a superstar celebrity. And he's got invited to be Avenger. The whole thing he wanted. Why he was watching the clock. Why he couldn't wait. Why he kept bugging Happy. He saved someone for a churro or whatever. Dumb shit that he didn't want to do. But now he got what he wants. You're mad that you didn't get him not wanting to be a superhero. Again, we're past that. He wants it bad. He fought with the Avengers. One of the well-is known people in the world, in the Marvel world there. People all know who they are. Captain America is an icon in that world. He fought against them. Brooklyn, Queens. Cool moment. All that happens. Here you go, Peter. He turns it down. He turns it down. Did that blow your mind? Were you like, oh, he's gonna take it, he's gonna be Avenger now? That's the story that was happening. Peter was learning through all this. He's not ready to be big time superhero. He's not. He's still a kid. So in the first Spider-Man outing, we're actually getting somewhat of an origin story of Peter realizing he can't be that guy. Not what he saw all those guys doing. He's not ready for that yet. He thinks, I'm just gonna stay being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And I write in bold letters, how is that not character development? One of my biggest gripes with people, I don't think people understand character development. I think they need to see a huge swing. Like, he was good, but then he turns evil at the end. Look at that character development. Holy shit. There are subtle things that happen through the whole movie that led to this moment. It's the payoff. This is how character development works. Again, I haven't found anything really that was bad so far going through Homecoming. Again, it's probably not perfect. It's probably got some flaws in there. But as far as what I'm saying, the story, I don't see where, oh my god, this is dog shit. Vulture was fine. Suit was cool. Oh, he got it with two. Yeah, it's part of it why he got it. He got upgraded. He got everything. He got spoiled. And at the end of it all, he learned, I'm not ready for this. He wanted it so bad. I said, you're criticizing Peter for wanting to become an Avenger when the entire point of the movie is Peter learning he doesn't need to become one yet. Did this go over your guys' head? Thanks, Hat Guy, for standing up and say you're breaking my heart. Did it go over people's head? And the guy that's like, when I walked out of Homecoming, I didn't feel whatever. Cool. Great. I'm not going to change your mind. And I'm not going to change this dude's mind. But I'm putting my perspective out there. And why? From being a huge Spider-Man fan to being a little boy to being the 40s man I am. And that is storytelling. That's development. That's a Spider-Man arc I just read out of 8 comics. And they put it together on the big screen. With Vulture being the villain, carrying over. Big twist at the end. Consequences. Even saves Vulture. A lot was learned. A lot was digested. I don't know how you missed that. I really don't. And then people get in these arguments about Sam Raimi's movies. I was stoked for these movies. Every one of them. Mostly for number 3. I remember not liking Topher Grace, but at the time Ultimate Comics was out and it was Eddie Brock Jr. And I believe he's Eddie Brock Jr. in Spider-Man 3. I almost watched that movie out of my head. If it's on, I'll watch it. I'll tell you that much. But it's just so bad. Mary Jane's a supervillain through the whole movie, by the way. Through all the movies. I grew up with the movies. These were ingrained in my head. That's why Spider-Man 3, I try to get it out, but it's always there. It just keeps, I see your dumb dancing suits. I see it right now. It reminds me back to Emo Parker. If you would have gave me that script and told me about that scene, and you told me that's about Spider-Man getting the symbiote, I'd have lost my goddamn mind. But you know what, back then, I was like, dude, this is it. This is cool. Like, we're getting Spider-Man. But this was one I was a little disappointed in because I had 1 and 2 to go off of. Because they tried so hard to make it full circle that Sandman had to be the guy that killed Uncle Ben to make it seem like this wasn't the plan, by the way. I told you that MCU was planning out stuff, and I don't have facts. I don't have facts about this either, but I already could tell that wasn't the plan. Because if it was the plan, Sandman in number 1 would have been cast as the killer. They decided to change it to make it be full circle, to end a trilogy. Cool, modernize it, right? Make it work. Easy change. I can get behind that. But Sandman's story is really boring. He's daughter thing. Why do we have to sympathize with every Spider-Man villain? Why? I don't get it. I know what you're gonna say. Well, Vulture, okay. Vulture, I get it. There's maybe some sympathizing because he does have a family. But other than that, damn, I'm getting a headache over this. Other than that, he's pretty fucking evil. Pretty dipshit of a guy. Now we see him go to jail. Who knows what he learned? We never learned anything else if he got character development. If you're upset about that, I'm sorry. They didn't do any character development with him. So remember, I was a teenager when it first came out. I remember the hype. And if anybody should be blinded by nostalgia, it should be me. I should have those glasses on. I should have nostalgia glasses on. How long is this so far? Hour. I'm probably going to cut it and do another continuation. I hate it because I got more with Remy, but I'll probably stop it and go back to Remy. So, yeah. So, anyways, this is where I disagree with everyone loving Remy. I disagree with Soups. He's like, it's the best thing ever. Like, again, I don't know how you call it nostalgia, but I hate being that dick right now. I know I'm not hard, but I should be the one suffering from the nostalgia from it. Right? I'm the one that waited outside line. I'm the one that went to Carl's Jr. and bought all the damn fucking toys. Like, I should be the one that's connected to this and not be able to break away from it. Like, me liking Good Burger to this day, that's nostalgia. It's a fucking horrible movie. That's nostalgia. Me liking The Goonies, that's nostalgia, plus it's a good fucking movie. There's a difference between the two. You're able to separate them, and it's easy. And Sam Raimi's trilogy always gets brought up, no matter what fucking conversation you're in. And I get it. You want to compare others, you know, that's the first one people go to before Garfield, because it's a masterpiece. It's a full trilogy. But it's not that great. I'm very much older than you guys. When I saw Spider-Man come out, I was young, and it was a big deal. It changed superhero movies. It changed it. It set the bar so high. It's ridiculous how much that movie impacted the world. Huge. Not only was Spider-Man, like, you know, everyone's favorite superhero comic, this was people's favorite movie that didn't even read a comic book. He was getting t-shirts made. I don't want to be the man though, back in my day, but when I wanted this shirt, we had to order it through like a comic magazine or something. They didn't make shirts. Now I'm so happy that I remember, like, one time my son just picked up a Rocket and Groot shirt, and I just stood there and it was like, this is gratefulness. I'm sorry. If it sounds like I'm being a dick, I'm sorry. But I was like, had a moment of like gratitude. I'm like, I can't believe my son just picked up a shirt that has a raccoon and a tree on it, and everybody knows who it is. So much so, they put Rocket and Groot on a t-shirt. It's in Target and it's for sale, and they make money off it. How far we came, Lord Jesus. We have come so far, and we are so spoiled. It's ridiculous. And I say that even against me. There's stuff I don't like, and I tell myself, dude, fuck, dude, you're so spoiled. Like, you got it so good. You're bitching about this. But then I try to remind myself, you know what? It's fair, because you're comparing to other things that are in modern times. So you criticize, you have your opinions, but there are moments I do feel like maybe I should just shut the fuck up and just appreciate stuff. So at the end of the day, I still appreciate every Spider-Man movie. Do I have to like it? It's actually a famous scene in Ron Burgundy. It might have been a deleted scene. Vince Vaughn's character tells Ron Burgundy, I hate you but god damn it, I respect you. So with Spider-Man 3, I don't like it, but do I respect it? Hell yeah, I respect the hell out of it. Sam Raimi did work. He did work on that, and he busted his ass for us fans. Great director, by the way. Huge director. But yeah, just because it's nostalgia doesn't mean you have to love it. And that's the crazy thing for me, is nowadays people are like, oh, but you don't remember Remy's came out this and that. Half the people telling me that, they don't understand what nostalgia is. For nostalgia, for me, I guess you could say, it's drinking out of the hose of your front water. Again, this is when I was back then, it was just different. The taste of it, the feeling of it being hot first and turning cold. It's just a feeling. It's a feeling you have and you remember. You can still taste it. So with Spider-Man's, Raimi's, I know the feeling. I know the taste. And if you got that too, that's awesome. If somehow you got that on your own without being there when it happened, that's awesome. But it's just hard because I don't want to compare this like the Holocaust or 9/11. But when you're at certain ages, when big events happen for you, it hits you differently depending on your age. And I don't like bringing up 9/11, but for example, that real quick, I don't want to get too deep on that because that's tragedy and it's no point of this really. Spider-Man did have a trailer in it, and they had to cut it because he does web up bad guys between the two twin towers, so that sucked. You know, unfortunately, all that happened. But when that happened, everybody has their own story. My story was, I woke up, saw it on TV, and I laid back down. I said, I'm never gonna fly, because I never flew at that time. Some plane crash I saw. Then now I have tons of memories. Walking to school. I remember being a dark day. It was cloudy. I could still feel that. And that's a bad nostalgia almost. And I remember just not feeling right. It felt weird, and even on campus, it felt odd. And my teacher didn't even teach. Put on the radio. That was it. We just sat there, and slowly, kids just started getting pulled out of class. I won't lie. Back then, I was a ditcher. I ditched class all the time. I had a girlfriend. Fortunately, we had relations, and when you're that age, you just wanted to go do those things. So we didn't care about when we could leave or whatever. Plus, we were like, I think in our senior year at that time. Yeah, I think it was senior year. So we were driving and stuff. We went on our own time. We didn't care. We made our schedules. I think we even went to school half days. But it's still ingrained in me. I can remember what the classroom looked like. I can remember how people were leaving. But other people's perspective of that event, they had different things going on that day. So how everybody remembers things is a lot different. So you have to remember, even though you saw Spider-Man with Raimi and you loved it and this and that, you have to remember I went through it a little bit different than you. Everybody went through it differently. So when you're praising it so hard and stuff, I remember that. I remember that feeling. And probably when you watched it, it maybe blew you away. It blew my fucking socks off when I watched it. But in time, it's ingrained in me. But in time, I can let it go and look at something else. And not relating it to what I just said about what happened in high school. I don't want to mention it again. Because those are things that are just tragedies. I'm talking about now with the whole Raimi thing. And this is where I'm going to end this video at. And I'll do another one. So you have to remember, the hype was real. It was huge. You also have to remember, there was times when we had Wizard Magazine. I don't know if you guys know what magazines are, but Wizard Magazine was huge in the 90s. Every month we got a magazine that showed us the price changes of our comics, and it had articles about writers, the hot comics, the top 10, letters in, just cool shit. Stuff you'd probably love to this day. Stuff we see on internet websites, but it was nothing like, again, old man here, nothing like holding it and reading it and bringing it in your backpack and just, I didn't even give a fuck at school. Like, I remember like 8th grade, there was one called Toy Fair, and they did toy stuff, and these new Star Wars toys were coming out. I brought it with me and opened it up for everyone. I got made the fun I got made fun of bad. But one girl liked Star Wars, and she wanted to talk to me afterwards. I never did anything with that, but it was cool. It was a cool moment. I can still remember to this day. But it was just different. And Wizard, that's how you got to see a lot of things, and we heard things. So back then, that's when we heard James Cameron was going to make Spider-Man. He wanted it bad. Now that you learn now, he wanted it bad. And Leonardo DiCaprio was going to be Peter. You could have cast anybody. I didn't care. I just wanted Spider-Man. That's all I wanted. So you have to put in some respect, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it. I was there for it, and I remember and waiting and couldn't. All these were different days, dude. You guys have no idea. Again, I hate sound like an old man, but it was just different. Like, you had to go at midnight to see a movie. There was no bullshit pirating. There was no getting to see it with the press for being on eBay on YouTube or TikToker. You got press to go see it. No, you had to wait. There was like critics that got to see it, but you had to suffer with everyone else, but it was a good suffering. I remember Fantastic Four too. I remember going after work. I barely got to change, and we went right into the line, and it was a long line. And then you just did not want the people walking out in front of you to tell you anything. And some people would be dicks and spoil stuff. Most of the time, it was fine. But I remember Fantastic Four. I'm like, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. I'm fine again. Doctor Doom, don't say anything. So it was just a different time. So going back to Raimi, you have to understand, when I'm going to talk about those, and I'll start the next video about that, it's nothing to disrespect things, because there's things I don't like and I think are bad, but I do respect where we came from, and I do respect that people appreciate stuff that I grew up with as a kid, that they like it too. But when they compare things and say one's dog shit, Spider-Man 3 sucked, but I would never call it dog shit. There was some stuff in there that could be okay, that you can enjoy. And again, nostalgia does play a factor in that. It just sucks, because I love Spider-Man so much, and I appreciate all this so much, and I think we're so lucky. And closing with the Homecoming thing, we're getting this whole new take of him, and blended in where I got to see him next to Iron Man and Captain America. It's crazy. We never thought this was going to happen. And again, this might be old man again, but no one thought this was going to happen. People were debating, I remember, I think on Facebook, if the rights were going to come back for Spider-Man. And we kind of got him back with Sony. And people were like, no, he's never going to be in these movies. I had faith. Because I could not believe we didn't have a movie where Spider-Man didn't interact with these guys. If any comic that you read, Spider-Man popped up everywhere. Spider-Man was the dude. He was the guy. So him not being involved in his first issue, Fantastic Four are the one that are helping him. It's just crazy that we had a X-Men world, we had a Spider-Man world, and none of these guys can interact with each other. Fantastic Four did have X-Men. There was plans in Fox, I believe, with Daredevil, X-Men, Fantastic Four. I don't know if Ghost Rider. There was some kind of plan for a movie. They were trying to get it, but I think the buyout happened. It would have been weird if we got this movie, because they were pulling back old people. But again, Deadpool and Wolverine pulled back old people, and it worked. But I think, again, that's a little nostalgia. And also, on top of all of it, Blade's badass. Again, we gotta give credit to Blade. Blade opened the door, I think, for a lot of people. Blade's not really a typical superhero movie. It's like a horror movie, but it's based off a superhero. Don't want to even get on a whole thing of that, because I'm trying to close this out for this part of the video. But damn, Blade. Imagine seeing Blade for the first time, not having any real superhero movies out, and just being like, we just got a movie with Blade. This isn't Spider-Man. This isn't, Batman. This isn't Superman. This is just some dude that hunts vampires and has a comic book that has cool stories, And he teams up with Ghost Rider. He teams up with Spider-Man. And we got him. He wasn't even in a Marvel world. He was just in his own world. It was crazy. Again, talk about, and that's not nostalgia. That movie still holds up and is a good fucking movie. But with them opening up all those doors, Blade and Spider-Man's Raimi, times change. And we grow with this, and we learn from this. And you can still hold on to things of the past and love it. I like Power Rangers, so to this day, I like the original Power Rangers. I tried to get my son to get into all of them. It just didn't work. But do I still go on Pluto and put on the old ones for background noise when I'm working on something? Sometimes I do. I'm hella old and I do that. It just brings me back. I like hearing the noises, hearing Morphin Time. It just brings me back. Now, throwing on the old animated Spider-Man and all that, those are just cool. Those are still good. X-Men. Thank God for Disney Plus having all these old stuff that we could watch. And the Silver Surfer cartoon, dude, it was so good. I didn't realize how good it was till I watched it again. It actually was good. It was good storytelling. But anyways. But just because things change, and you could keep your opinions on stuff, and that's fine. Like I gave you examples already. A lot of stuff came out, things changed, some were better, some I still love a lot, some I changed a little bit of the opinion, but it doesn't mean that every part aged well. That's the biggest thing. And that could be within 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago. Something might have changed really fast. So you just got to remember, closing this video out, we're going to get to Remy in the next one. Just because I may not like Remy's as much as I used to, they were my favorites at one point. But things change, and when things change, you can see things weren't perfect. And not saying the ones I do like are perfect, but there were more flaws in it that I liked for a Spider-Man character in a Spider-Man movie. And yes, I again, one more time, I'll say it for the people in the back. I think Spider-Man 1 is a perfect cutout of Stan Lee's image of Spider-Man. That is nothing but respect to Stan Lee making a movie for him. Right now, if I watch it, I wouldn't feel like it's really a movie for me, but I still will enjoy it for the fact of I remember what it did for me and what it did for everybody. And even you guys watching it and what it did for you. The fact that you think it's better than movies that I think are better than it. Because we cling on to this. It was the first, it's this, it did that. But you gotta dissect things sometimes. You don't have to. But if you're really into movies, really into comics, I see it all the time. This is what I love about the internet. This is what I love by watching these podcasts and stuff. People dissect it, they break it down. And there's core to a lot of these things. And that's the cool thing. These things have lores, they have history. It's like a Bible. It's like a Bible. A Bible that we've had for the ages. We've had the blueprints. We have the comics. And then things change. Other stories come out. People start telling different stories. And it's just a little different. But I still respect it all. So we're going to go on to Remy next. But I'm going to end this because this is way too long already. Way too long. I knew I wasn't going to get everything out in this. So who knows if I'll be able to fit it all in the second video. But hopefully, I don't know even if I should release them all together or in order. And again, people might not even watch it, but I'm doing this for myself. This is therapeutic. Someone called one of my favorite movies dog shit. Would it be one of my favorite MCU? I don't know. There's a lot of MCU movies I really like. There's some I really don't like. I'll tell you that much. And there's some I really like that everyone hates. I said that before. Kind of with these guys, they all don't like Homecoming. I don't not have an inspiration from it, but it's cool. But again, we could criticize all day, and it's fine. We're all good for that. It's just a little different when people say it had no feeling. We're trying to erase how bad it was. You could say the same thing about Andrew Garfield. I'm trying to finish this. Andrew Garfield coming out. Why didn't they do Spider-Man 4 like planned? Because they didn't want to do it. They felt like it wasn't 3 did bad, and they wanted to redo it again. Why didn't they go with Andrew Garfield and keep him, put him in the MCU? They didn't want to do the confusion. They didn't want to do it fresh. They wanted a younger kid. And I think Tom Holland's the best Peter Parker we have. Sorry. Again, I'll get into that later, but might end on a little note where people are pissed off. It's coming from all the knowledge, all the cartoons, all the comics, everything. What they needed for a modernized Peter Parker, and if they want to have him in high school, which I get sick of, I want to see middle-aged Peter, but now we're getting to college now, at least after college. I think he's graduating, or they're graduated in Brand New Day. He works, and I'm sorry if that makes you upset, that makes you mad, that I think Holland works the best as Peter Parker. The others were good. I don't want to get into those because I have my opinions on it, and it's gonna make the video longer. But the whole thing is, yeah, I respect things. And you know, nostalgia is a hell of a thing. I get it, and I'm taking too long to wrap this up. And again, I'll just end with things change. So over time, watching other Spider-Man movies, it changes your opinion. After watching a movie again, there's a video I did based off these guys too, that your ratings change on movies, because over time you rewatch it and you think, this kind of didn't do it for me anymore, or you appreciate it more. So on the next video, we'll start off with Remy and why I didn't feel like, I don't know if I'm saying Sam Remy. It feels like, because my niece is Remy, and it's not spelled like Rami. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. We'll start off with why I don't think the first one was perfect for me. Again, I'm not gonna call it dog shit, but I'll tell you why. It's now that I'm older, I've seen all what we've done, read new stories from the comics, seen the journey we went on, why I feel like nothing's perfect, but I think there are things that people thought was perfect in it that do have flaws that you think are perfect, because there's a lot of stuff in movies that have a perfect scene that you can't argue with that's perfect. But with Spider-Man, number one, things that people hold close to their heart, I will tell you, they're not as perfect as you think they are. And that's where we'll leave this off, because it's way too much talking, but it's good. It brings me back to good times. It's healthy for my mental health. I always tell you guys I have a panic disorder. I have anxiety, depression, everything. I'm seeking help. I have pills, and I have all the right people, so don't worry about me. But these are good for me. I love it. I'm by myself right now with a microphone, with soups on the screen for no reason. My family's asleep. I feel sweaty because it's hot right now, but it's fine. I love doing this. No one's probably even gonna watch this. I love doing this. And I will continue with the next video, and hopefully people will watch this one. It's long, and want to be like, I want to see what he's gonna say about the Remy movies, because I still got a little more to say. I don't know if it's gonna be like, I have to look at my notes, see if it's gonna be like, oh god, this is gonna be 3-part series or something. Will people watch all these? I don't know, but it's important to me to make it 3 parts or whatever it is. It's just, it feels good. It feels good to talk about it. I feel like I'm talking to you guys on the screen. Soups, Skate Podcast. I feel like I'm talking back to you guys, and that's a nice feeling, especially at my age where you get kids and you're married. You don't got the core group you used to have. I owned a comic book shop, and I had them all around me all the time, and you don't own it anymore, and you don't see those people anymore. I don't get to talk about superheroes all the time, so I get to do it on this, and we're gonna end that. And we'll get to talk about it again, and we'll start off with the Raimi movies and where I don't see things perfect, where people do think they're perfect. So catch me on that flip side.